What's up, guys? Alright, so we have run the Blue Black Reanimator. Very good record with Blue Black Reanimator. So now we are going to move down to the Sultai Reanimator deck. What's different about this deck is it actually has some green cards in it, even a green manland. This deck is a little different in the fact that it only runs 21 lands. Let's see here. Let's get the preview up. Let's make that big for you. Alright, so this deck only runs 21 lands. 2 Blooming Marsh, 2 Botanical Sanctum, 1 Evolving Wilds, 3 Forest, 2 Hissing Quagmires, 3 Islands, 4 Sunken Hollows, and 4 Swamp. 21 lands and 4 Traverse, filling up the land base. These are honorary lands, but I want to say late game they become something much better, but it's not even late game. It happens so fast in this deck to get Delirium that mid game you're looking for exactly what you're looking for, or you're searching for whatever it is you're looking for. Not just a land. However, that does seem to be a little counterproductive from time to time, because as you're filling up your graveyard and you have the option to get something other than a land, it takes a little bit of discipline to actually get a land when you have so many other options. Early interaction, we still have the Fatal Push, Grasp of Darkness. We did cut down on the Oath of Jace by 2. That made some slots for a couple other cards that we wanted to run in the deck. In this deck, we actually wanted to run the Gonti, Lord of Luxury, and then other than that, everything's pretty much the same, other than this Green Warden Marasa. Green Warden's a really good card as far as giving you your kill spells back. Originally, I wanted to run a version that had Goblin Dark Dweller in it, just to get those kill spells back. However, Green Warden seems to be like it would be a good card to fill that gap, and you don't necessarily have to exile it when it dies, especially if you know you're going to be reusing it in your loop. Getting any card from your graveyard back is pretty good. So Green Warden, good card. I mean, Eternal Witness, who knew? Alright, so again we have the Demon of Dark Schemes. Great card, good reanimator target. We don't really have a lot of energy producers, which makes me think that there may be a version of this deck that would like energy. I don't know yet, and we may give it some testing. So it's definitely something we'll look at. This deck only runs 3 of the Noxious Gearhulks, whereas one of the other decks runs 4. Still 2 Ever Afters and only 1 Razakath. I've yet to come up on the Razakath, because in so many games we can just win without it. Sometimes it's just win more, and then other times it's an early we win. So Razakath's good, but I just hate getting stuck with him in my hand with no way to get rid of him. I will say that this deck is slightly weaker at dumping its hand or filling its graveyard, because 2 less Oath of Jace, but I don't really see that being a problem. Another good key card that I want to talk about is adding Gonti, Lord of Luxury, to this deck. I've tried it a little bit in testing with some of the other decks, and even had it in the sideboard on my Blue-Black Control deck, or Blue-Black Reanimator deck. And Gonti just seems to be really, really good, especially in the control matchup. If you can resolve this, grab something off the top of their library, more times than not, this just grabs a counter spell. However, I used it to great effect earlier in the testing with the Blue-Black Control deck. I actually brought it in against the Approach of the Second Sun deck, and he put his Approach on, then he Glimmered, and I forget how the Glimmer went, but It ended up being enough cards with that and one other card that he cast, leaving approach like 2 cards from the top. Either way, it was in the top 4. So I just cast Gonti, or actually brought Gonti back from the graveyard, and took the approach away from him. So that was really, really good. I didn't understand the possibilities of that, or even that interaction, when I was thinking about approach being our worst matchup. However, Gonti seemed to be really good in that matchup. And the first time I'd cast him, I actually grabbed um, an enchantment that did absolutely nothing because he had no creatures. But still, cast out was not a horrible card. I ended up being able to cast out a Desert's Hold later. What a card, right? But either way, Gonti served his purpose in that fight, or in that matchup, and he has quite a few good purposes in other matchups. And being able to recur a Gonti more than one time is extremely good. Moving on to the sideboard here. Most of the sideboard is just control. Different forms of control. Lost Legacy is really good. In earlier games of testing, I was able to Lost Legacy Hour of Promise in a ramp matchup, which I brought it in for against the Ulamogs. But I was able to Lost Legacy the Hour of Promise on turn 3, which slowed him down considerably. And then turn 6, I hardcast Green Warden, got my Lost Legacy back, and then got the Ulamogs out of his deck. At that point, he was pretty much beat. So, definitely, Lost Legacy in this deck seems really good. Gifted Aetherborn. This is a card I keep coming so close to cutting, and then I run into a Bristling Hydra deck and remember just how badly I need it. Dreamstealer, almost mainboard worthy. This card is really, really good. In the matchups where it's good, they will have to spend ridiculous amounts of energy to keep this off the battlefield, and if they don't, they lose. You get that type of card advantage against them, they are in some serious trouble. So, Dreamstealer, great card. I don't think we have to talk about Doomfall very much. Thoughtseize or a Diabolic Edict, or actually they exile. So I don't even know what that would be. Exile target or exile a creature. Somebody in the comments let me know. Then we have To the Slaughter, which is always great. Considering we can hit Delirium so early, this works great against Chandras. You get to sweep the board with Yahini's expertise, cast this, and take out the Hazard and a Chandra. Happens more often than you would think. A lot of other great uses for it. Gideon, to say the least. Gideon is just this Rex Gideon. Flaying Tendrils, very good. In one of our earlier matchups, I think it was in the blue-black deck, not necessarily this deck. However, we had the Flaying Tendrils. And remember, those two decks are extremely, extremely close together. This one in the blue-black, just very, very minor differences, mainly in the land base and a couple of the draw cards. So, the decks are going to have many games that just play out exactly the same, and the sideboards are quite similar, considering both decks have pretty much the same game plan. But Flaying Tendrils was just absolutely clutch in a Cryptolitherite Zealoport Cutthroat deck I came against just a few moments ago. And then we have an appetite for the Unreal for those enchantments that we just can't get rid of. Again, in the Desert's Hold Approach of the Second Sun deck, when they went to put a Desert's Hold on Razakath, we just simply sacrificed a creature and went and got the appetite for the Unnatural, so that we could just destroy that Desert's Hold the very next turn. Very good play, and just having it in the deck at that given moment was what saved us and what won that game. So having one copy of Enchantment Hate is just, it's necessary. We need to have it. Also, we have a Manglehorn. Being a creature and our ability to recur creatures, Manglehorn is just absolutely amazing. If they have artifacts of any sort, bring in your Manglehorn and watch them cry. Pulsa Marasa. We bring this in against some of the a little bit slower or faster decks. This is really good. The gain 6 life, and to guarantee that we hit our land drops. Sometimes you are having to pitch lands to Champion of Wits and things like that. This deck is very, very low on land, so if you do pitch them, sometimes you definitely need those back. The gain 6 life is absolutely amazing. Once you get into a loop with Green Warden of Marasa, this card is just sick. It won't take a red deck long to realize what you're doing. And to explain that loop really quick, you will just cast Green Warden of Marasa, get back your Pulse Marasa that you cast earlier. Then when Green Warden dies, do not exile him. Use Pulse Marasa to get him back, which you can actually kill him with, say, your own Noxious or something like that, which is, that's it's 4 life. Gets a red deck or something like that when you're gaining 6 off the Pulse to get it back. It just gets out of hand. Remember, the exile Green Warden when he dies is a May ability, so you do not have to do that. Also, if you have a Razageth out, you just have a way to sack him. Sacking him, recurring pulse, just repeating the process becomes unreal, and definitely too much life for most people to stop. So definitely a good interaction there with the Pulse of Marasa and Green Warden. Almost to the point where I would put maybe a Grasp of Darkness in the sideboard and bring the Pulse main board, or possibly even move the Gonti again. Pulse seems like it would be really, really good in conjunction with Green Warden, so definitely want to play with that interaction a little bit and see just how good that could be. And without further ado, we'll get into some games here.